What's going on, guys? Stevie here with Lucky Crit, and today we've got a brand new Fire Emblem Heroes app update to version 2.0.0, and of course alongside this we have the brand new Legendary Heroes banner with the default summoning rate of 8%, which is really nice, and of course bringing back some of the old popular seasonal units that you may have missed out on, like Spring Camilla and Bride Cordelia. And of course on top of all of this, we also do have Book 2 finally available, which currently only has 2 chapters, but that means there's a grand total of 30 more orbs for you to go and collect. And of course, in a couple of days, we will also have the December orbs coming out, so keep that in mind as well. With this update, for those of you who have already played through these chapters, will have noticed that there are brand new child units on these maps. We did see that we were going to get a Children of Fate banner later this month, so these are the characters that we're going to be getting, and thanks to data mining, we do have their stats and their weapons that they're coming with, so let's take a look at that. Right off the bat, we have Siegbert, who is Xander's son, and he's going to get Swift Sparrow built into his weapon. So rest in peace, Melkorin, considering there won't be a refinery upgrade to the Yato blade, likely until we get Kana as a playable unit, so he's kind of gonna collect dust right now. Siegbert also gets Dragon Fang, Death Blow 3, and a new skill, Attack Tactic 3, which is a weird spur variant. Basically at the start of a turn, grants attack +6 to all allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. This is granted only if number of that ally's movement type on the current team is less than or equal to 2. So clearly not intended to buff all of the horse, armor, or Fire Emblem teams, and is more of a mixed team support in this case. Siegbert has a pretty amazing stat line. He's up there with Brave Roy. He's got pretty much no resistance, but Death Blow 3 and Swift Sparrow in his weapon means that he attacks with 60 attack and 39 speed before horse buffs on the player phase, which is just insane. We've also got Rhajat, who is Hayato's daughter and bears a very striking resemblance to Tharja, or Tharja, however you want to pronounce that. Check out that video. She comes with the Keen Gronnwolf at 12 might, and is very similar stat-wise to Summer Elise and Nino. Compared to Summer Elise, she's slightly slower, 1 point less attack, but more well-rounded on the defenses. Gronnwolf is also finally in the game because of her. We had the other two, but still no Gronnwolf, so this is nice to see. We're finally fleshing out the tomes a little bit more. She also comes with Rally Attack, Defense, Distant Defense 3, and Savage Blow. Next up, there's Shiro. Shiro is of course Ryoma's son, and he gets attack and defense +4 built into his nice 16 might weapon. Has pretty borderline speed, good attack, and good defenses, and also comes with Swap, Steady Stance 3, and Defense Tactic 3. Similar to Attack Tactic, at the start of a turn, grants attack +6 to all allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn, and of course granted only if number of that ally's movement type on the current team is less than or equal to 2. So we have kind of a reverse thing going on here between Siegbert and Shiro. One of them boosts defense, one of them boosts attack. Shiro could make a nice tank with skills like Steady Breath. He's sort of a slightly altered Donald. 2 less HP, same attack, 1 extra point in speed, 3 extra points in defense, and 1 less resistance. And finally we have Soleil, who is the daughter of Laszlo, and she finally brings the Firesweep sword into the game and has some pretty solid offenses and speed to back it up. She's also got Blazing Wind, Darting Blow, and Drive Res. She might be overshadowed a little bit by units like Ira, Mia, and Alencia with their extra speed, who are going to be able to utilize that Firesweep sword a bit better, but she's pretty solid at base. She's also going to make an incredible Brave Sword user with her high attack and speed. Unfortunately, out of all of these units, it seems that Rhajat will be the most likely candidate to get demoted after this banner and end up in the 4-star pool, though it could also be Soleil. If she is demoted though, we will have easier Gronnwolf access, which is nice, and a nice fodder unit for Distant Defense 2 or 3 finally, instead of having to sack like a Celica or something like that, so that's cool. Overall, this is going to be a pretty impressive banner. We've got some great new units here, but I think that most people will probably spend most of their orbs catching up on the 8% Legendary Heroes banner, unless these units are some of their favorites or fill a hole in their roster that they're missing. I'd suggest not summoning for Rhajat and potentially Soleil right off the bat, as they're the likeliest to be demoted, though you may snag a Soleil if you do summon for Siegbert anyway, so be careful of that. Shiro seems solid, but Donald isn't really huge in the meta, so even though he has a 16 might special weapon and a better base kit than Donald, I'm really not sure how much of an effect he'll have on the meta, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Rhajat will likely still sit in the shadow of units like Nino and Summer Elise, unfortunately, even though her stat line is pretty similar, but she's not really bringing anything better than those two to the table. Aside from that, alongside the rest of these updates, remember that healers can also now learn their enhanced weapon versions, and we also have an extra 100 spaces for new units in your roster, which is great, because for me personally, I was encroaching upon that. I had to get rid of a lot of units, and I know my brother was too, so definitely a nice gift from Intelligent Systems right there. And due to the new story chapters, we've also got some data on the new baddies. First up, we have Loki with Thok, which gives her Wrathful Staff and Directional Gravity built in against ranged units, which is pretty nice. She is a healer though, which is kind of strange. I guess we could probably tell that from the artwork that was released before. but I didn't put 2 and 2 together, so that's going to be interesting. Hopefully with these new healer updates, though, she will be good. Obviously, though, getting her as a unit is not really something within sight. We still never got units like Veronica or Bruno or anybody like that yet, so who knows? Maybe someday these units will be summonable or receivable somehow from the story missions, but that remains to be seen, and I don't think that we're going to be getting Loki anytime soon, but hopefully eventually. We've also got Levitain, who gets a built-in attack boost alongside a Blade Tome effect on a weapon with the same name as her, which is pretty interesting. They went with a rather interesting translation of her name. I was expecting something a little bit more like Leviathan, which I guess you can kind of derive from her name anyway, but it's a little bit more interesting, I think, this way. And lastly, we've also got Serdar, who gets a nice AoE effect at the start of the turn, damaging all foes within 2 spaces of him. So basically, stay away or reposition out of there. And of course, we've also got the weapon refinery that's added into the game now, so you can start upgrading your character's weapons and stuff, especially some of these weaker characters or older units that have been sort of power creeped by a lot of the newer stuff. You can now bring them up to par with them. Characters like Lyn have some amazing weapon upgrades. Healers can now have Wrathful Staff upgrades in their staves to be even more potent without even having to fodder like Jenny's. Jafar's Deathly Dagger does 10 damage after combat now, and mages cannot counterattack, which is really cool. Units like Michaelis can also get a little bit of a Wodow effect built into their weapon, so really, really cool stuff happening here. Make sure that you pay attention to some of your favorite units that are maybe overshadowed and see what you can do for them and kind of bring them up to the standard. So that's going to wrap up today's episode, guys. I hope you learned something new here. If you did enjoy this video, do me a solid and slash the like button down below. Also, leave me a comment and let me know what you're excited to summon on, whether it's the Legendary Heroes banner, or if you're going to hold out for this Children of Fate banner, or if you think that we might still see a Christmas banner later this month. Definitely something to consider, and you might want to save some of those orbs. But anyway, let me know what you think. And of course, a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters that make content like this possible. In the coming days, I'm going to be working extra hard to get even more Patreon content out because I have been a little bit behind on that in the past while, but I will be working on that. So thank you guys so much for all of your support and your patience. And of course, you can also join us on our public Discord server by checking out the link in the description below. It's where we tend to hang out and have a little bit more fun outside of these video releases, so definitely be sure to check it out. And of course, you can also follow us on Twitter for any news and updates that get revealed on the fly. And I'll see you all next time.